Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 5, Book 59, number 459. Narrated by Ibn Maheraz. I entered the mosque and saw Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and sat beside him and asked him about al-azl, i.e. coitus interruptus. Abu Sa'id said, "We went out with Allah's apostle for the Ghazwa of Banu al-Mustalik. And we received captives from among the Arab captives, and we desired women, and celibacy became hard on us, and we loved to do coitus interruptus. So when we intended to do coitus interruptus, we said, how can we do coitus interruptus before asking Allah's apostle who is present among us? We asked him about it, and he said, it is better for you not to do so, for if any soul, till the day of resurrection, is predestined to exist, it will exist." Volume 5, Book 59, number 460. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. We took part in the Ghazwa of Najd along with Allah's apostle, and when the time for the afternoon rest approached, while he was in a valley with plenty of thorny trees, he dismounted under a tree and rested in its shade and hung his sword on it. The people dispersed amongst the trees in order to have shade. While we were in this state, Allah's apostle called us, and we came and found a Bedouin sitting in front of him. The Prophet said, "This Bedouin came to me while I was asleep, and he took my sword stealthily. I woke up while he was standing by my head, holding my sword without its sheath. He said, 'Who will save you from me?' I replied, 'Allah.' So he sheathed it, i.e. the sword, and sat down, and here he is. But Allah's apostle did not punish him." Volume 5, Book 59, number 461. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari. I saw the Prophet offering his Nawafil prayer on his mount facing the east during the Ghazwa of Anmar. Volume 5, Book 59, number 462. Narrated by Aisha. Whenever Allah's apostle intended to go on a journey, he used to draw lots amongst his wives, and Allah's apostle used to take with him the one on whom lot fell. He drew lots amongst us during one of the Ghazwat which he fought. The lot fell on me, and so I proceeded with Allah's apostle after Allah's order of veiling, the women, had been revealed. I was carried, on the back of a camel, in my howdah and carried down while still in it, when we came to a halt. So we went on till Allah's apostle had finished from that Ghazwa of his and returned. When we approached the city of Medina, he announced at night that it was time for departure. So when they announced the news of departure, I got up and went away from the army camps, and after finishing from the call of nature, I came back to my riding animal. I touched my chest to find that my necklace, which was made of zephyr beads, i.e. Yemenite beads partly black and partly white, was missing. So I returned to look for my necklace, and my search for it detained me. In the meanwhile, the people who used to carry me on my camel, came and took my howdah and put it on the back of my camel on which I used to ride, as they considered that I was in it. In those days women were light in weight, for they did not get fat, and flesh did not cover their bodies in abundance, as they used to eat only a little food. Those people therefore disregarded the lightness of the howdah while lifting and carrying it, and at that time I was still a young girl. They made the camel rise, and all of them left, along with it. I found my necklace after the army had gone. Then I came to their camping place to find no call maker of them, nor one who would respond to the call. So I intended to go to the place where I used to stay, thinking that they would miss me and come back to me, in my search. While I was sitting in my resting place, I was overwhelmed by sleep and slept. Safwan bin al-Mu'attal as Sulami ad-Dakwani was behind the army. When he reached my place in the morning, he saw the figure of a sleeping person, and he recognized me on seeing me as he had seen me before the order of compulsory veiling was prescribed. So I woke up when he recited Ishtaja, i.e. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, as soon as he recognized me. I veiled my face with my head cover at once, and by Allah, we did not speak a single word. And I did not hear him saying any word besides his ishtaja. He dismounted from his camel and made it kneel down, putting his leg on its front legs, and then I got up and rode on it. Then he set out leading the camel that was carrying me till we overtook the army in the extreme heat of midday while they were at a halt, taking a rest. Because of the event, some people brought destruction upon themselves. And the one who spread the ifk, i.e. slander, more, was Abdullah bin Ubay ibn Salul. Urwa said, the people propagated the slander and talked about it in his, i.e. Abdullah's, presence, and he confirmed it, and listened to it and asked about it to let it prevail. Urwa also added, none was mentioned as members of the slanderous group besides Abdullah, except Hassan bin Thabit and Mr. bin Uthatha and Hamna bin Jash along with others, about whom I have no knowledge, but they were a group as Allah said. It is said that the one who carried most of the slander was Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul. Urwa added, Aisha disliked to have Hassan abused in her presence, and she used to say, it was he who said, my father and his, i.e. my father's, father and my honor are all for the protection of Muhammad's honor from you. Aisha added, after we returned to Medina, I became ill for a month. The people were propagating the forged statements of the slanderers while I was unaware of anything of all that, but I felt that in my present ailment, I was not receiving the same kindness from Allah's apostle as I used to receive when I got sick. But now, Allah's apostle would only come, greet me and say, how is that, lady, and leave. That roused my doubts, but I did not discover the evil, i.e. slander, till I went out after my convalescence. I went out with Mr. to Al-Manasi, where we used to answer the call of nature. And we used not to go out, to answer the call of nature, except at night, and that was before we had latrines near our houses. And this habit of our concerning evacuating the bowels, was similar to the habits of the old Arabs living in the deserts. For it would be troublesome for us to take latrines near our houses. So I and Mr., who was the daughter of Abu Rum bin al-Muttalib bin Abd Manaf, whose mother was the daughter of Sak bin Amir, and the aunt of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and whose son was Mr. bin Uthatha bin Abbas bin al-Muttalib, went out. I and Mr. returned to my house after we finished answering the call of nature. Mr. stumbled by getting her foot entangled in her covering sheet, and on that she said, let Mr. be ruined. I said, what a hard word you have said. Do you abuse a man who took part in the battle of Badr? On that she said, O you hunter, didn't you hear what he, i.e. Mr., said? I said, what did he say? Then she told me the slander of the people of Ifk. So my ailment was aggravated, and when I reached my home, Allah's apostle came to me, and after greeting me, said, how is that, lady? I said, will you allow me to go to my parents? As I wanted to be sure about the news through them. Allah's apostle allowed me. And I went to my parents, and asked my mother, O mother, what are the people talking about? She said, O my daughter, don't worry, for scarcely is there a charming woman who is loved by her husband, and whose husband has other wives besides herself, that they, i.e. women, would find faults with her. I said, Subhan Allah. I testify the uniqueness of Allah. Are the people really talking in this way? I kept on weeping that night till dawn. I could neither stop weeping nor sleep. Then in the morning again, I kept on weeping. When the divine inspiration was delayed, Allah's apostle called Ali bin Abi Talib and Osama bin Zaid to ask and consult them about divorcing me. Osama bin Zaid said what he knew of my innocence, and the respect he preserved in himself for me. Osama said, O Allah's apostle, she is your wife and we do not know anything except good about her. Ali bin Abi Talib said, O Allah's apostle, Allah does not put you in difficulty, and there are plenty of women other than she. Yet, Ask the maidservant who will tell you the truth. On that Allah's apostle called Barira, i.e. the maidservant, and said, O Barira, did you ever see anything which aroused your suspicion? Barira said to him, By him who has sent you with the truth, I have never seen anything in her, i.e. Aisha, which I would conceal, except that she is a young girl who sleeps leaving the dough of her family exposed so that the domestic goats come and eat it. So, on that day, Allah's apostle got up on the pulpit and complained about Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul before his companions, saying, O you Muslims! Who will relieve me from that man who has hurt me with his evil statement about my family? By Allah, I know nothing except good about my family, and they have blamed a man about whom I know nothing except good, and he used never to enter my home except with me. Sa'd bin Mu'adh, the brother of Banu Abd al-Ash'al, got up and said, O Allah's apostle! I will relieve you from him. If he is from the tribe of al-Aus, then I will chop his head off, and if he is from our brothers, i.e. al-Khazraj, then order us, and we will fulfill your order. On that, a man from al-Khazraj got up. Hassan, his cousin, was from his branch tribe, and he was Sa'd bin Ubadah, chief of al-Khazraj. Before this incident, he was a pious man, but his love for his tribe goaded him into saying to Sa'd bin Mu'adh, By Allah, you have told a lie. You shall not and cannot kill him. If he belonged to your people, you would not wish him to be killed. On that, Asad bin Hudair, who was the cousin of Sa'd bin Mu'adh, got up and said to Sa'd bin Ubadah, By Allah, you are a liar, we will surely kill him, and you are a hypocrite arguing on the behalf of hypocrites. On this, the two tribes of al-Aus and al-Khazraj got so much excited that they were about to fight while Allah's apostle was standing on the pulpit. Allah's apostle kept on quietening them till they became silent, and so did he. All that day I kept on weeping with my tears never ceasing, and I could never sleep. In the morning my parents were with me, and I wept for 2 nights and a day with my tears never ceasing. And I could never sleep till I thought that my liver would burst from weeping. So, while my parents were sitting with me and I was weeping, an Ansari woman asked me to grant her admittance. I allowed her to come in, and when she came in, she sat down and started weeping with me. While we were in this state, Allah's apostle came, greeted us and sat down. He had never sat with me since that day of the slander. A month had elapsed and no divine inspiration came to him about my case. Allah's apostle then recited Tashahhud and then said, Amma Badu, O Aisha! I have been informed, sir and sir, about you. If you are innocent, then soon Allah will reveal your innocence, and if you have committed a sin, then repent to Allah and ask Him for forgiveness, for when a slave confesses his sins and asks Allah for forgiveness, Allah accepts his repentance. When Allah's apostle finished his speech, my tears ceased flowing completely, that I no longer felt a single drop of tear flowing. I said to my father, Reply to Allah's apostle on my behalf concerning what he has said. My father said, By Allah, I do not know what to say to Allah's apostle. Then I said to my mother, Reply to Allah's apostle on my behalf concerning what he has said. She said, By Allah, I do not know what to say to Allah's apostle. In spite of the fact that I was a young girl and had a little knowledge of Quran, I said, By Allah, no doubt I know that you heard this slanderous speech, so that it has been planted in your hearts, i.e. minds, and you have taken it as a truth. Now if I tell you that I am innocent, you will not believe me, and if confess to you about it, and Allah knows that I am innocent, you will surely believe me. By Allah, I find no similitude for me and you accept that of Joseph's father when he said, For me, patience in the most fitting against that which you assert. It is Allah, alone, whose help can be sought. Then I turned to the other side and lay on my bed, and Allah knew then that I was innocent and hoped that Allah would reveal my innocence. But, by Allah, I never thought that Allah would reveal about my case divine inspiration, that would be recited forever, as I considered myself too unworthy to be talked of by Allah with something of my concern, but I hoped that Allah's apostle might have a dream in which Allah would prove my innocence. But, by Allah, before Allah's apostle left his seat and before any of the household left, the divine inspiration came to Allah's apostle. So there overtook him the same hard condition which used to overtake him when he used to be inspired divinely. The sweat was dropping from his body like pearls, though it was a wintry day, and that was because of the weighty statement which was being revealed to him. When that state of Allah's apostle was over, he got up smiling, and the first word he said was, "O Aisha, Allah has declared your innocence." Then my mother said to me, "Get up and go to him," i.e. Allah's apostle. I replied, "By Allah, I will not go to him, and I praise none but Allah." So Allah revealed the 10 verses, "Verily, they who spread the slander are a gang among you." 24.1120. Allah revealed those Quranic verses to declare my innocence. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who used to disburse money for Mr. bin Uthatha because of his relationship to him and his poverty, said, "By Allah, I will never give to Mr. bin Uthatha anything after what he has said about Aisha." Then Allah revealed, "And let not those among you who are good and wealthy swear not to give any sort of help to their kinsmen, those in need, and those who have left their homes for Allah's cause, let them pardon and forgive. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? And Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful." 24.22. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, "Yes, by Allah, I would like that Allah forgive me," and went on giving Mr. the money he used to give him before. He also added, "By Allah, I will never deprive him of it at all." Aisha further said, Allah's apostle also asked Zainab bint Jahsh, i.e. his wife, about my case. He said to Zainab, "What do you know and what did you see?" She replied, "O Allah's apostle, I refrain from claiming falsely that I have heard or seen anything. By Allah, I know nothing except good about Aisha. From amongst the wives of the Prophet, Zainab was my peer in beauty and in the love she received from the Prophet, but Allah saved her from that evil because of her piety. Her sister Hamna started struggling on her behalf and she was destroyed along with those who were destroyed." The man who was blamed said, "Subhan Allah, by him in whose hand my soul is, I have never uncovered the cover, i.e. veil, of any female." Later on the man was martyred in Allah's cause.